as irreversible as squeezing toothpaste out of that tube. You cannot put it back. You must be willing to pay the price, the personal cost in your career, your family, your honor, even your life. And you must look at the net effect on the nation and the people you claim to want to protect. You must not take sides politically. And when you do your cost-benefit and risk-benefit analysis, you must make sure that the cure is not worse than the sickness. We disagreed only on one thing, methodology. Manong Pong and I were not separated by partisan politics, ideology, or party affiliations. We were only separated by varying thresholds of patience, being a little younger. How did we resolve our differences? We decided to define more what we are for than what we are against. We decided that nation building is work in progress and that soldiers must be neutral politically, not the Praetorian Guard or private security agency of any administration. And that the problems are more systemic than personality-oriented. But we agreed, almost to the point of arguing passionately, that our children are our most precious, strategic, renewable resource, our next generation of citizens and leaders. And we agreed on the ancient definition of heroes and heroism, which I will mention later on. Our children are our legacy. All of them are better than us. So just imagine our grandchildren. Awesome. Pong Biazon, soldier, lawmaker, statesman. But again, we cannot give what we do not have. So his most meaningful and challenging roles were as father, grandfather, lolo, and husband. So Richie and Herb, Franz and Alonso, Josh, Rob and Emma, Sophia, Rino, Jing, Arel and Morgan, Mikey, Nikki, Profi, Trina, Carlo, Anton, Ino and Enzo. Mamonchi, I know for a fact, and with certainty, how much he loved all of you. Please don't ask why, basta alam ko. Manong Pong, Tatang, loved you as much, if not more than, he loved this blessed country of ours. And when duty called, it was always agony for him to choose in favor of a short-term sacrifice for a long-term personal benefit that would redound to serving the highest national interest. I last saw Manong Pong 14 April, his 88th birthday. Two old warriors coming full circle, talking about the country, and the country. Not sure where to begin and how to end. Ang higpit ng yakapan namin, pagdating ko, nakatapak dun sa first floor. Nagyakapan uli kami, magpaalam ako. I did not want to let go, hoping that some of that inner strength would rub off so we could help continue where he left off. Tuwing tinatanong kami, Colonel, Senator, kailan ka ba nagsenador? Sabi ko, nagsenador ako ng panahon ni Nadrilon, ni Soto, ni Estrada, ni Ejercito, ni Hontiveros, ni Lina, ni Angara, ni Padilla, ni Villar, ni Pimentel, ni Tatad, ni Mercado, ni Gordon, ni Magsaysay. counted ourselves serious lawmakers, differentiating between trial by publicity and national security. Rodolfo Gaspar Biazon, Tata, Manong po, walked the talk and showed by living example that when ordinary, imperfect men together, I underscore the word together, dream, pray, work hard, and sacrifice to build a strong, sovereign nation for the next generation, they all become heroes.
The Honorable Franklin Necrological will now deliver his speech.
My dear friends, a pleasant good morning to all of you. With profound sadness, we gather in this august chamber and join the whole nation in mourning the passing of former Senator Rodolfo Biazon, a giant of a man who we all fondly call Paul. I have personally witnessed the events that earned him the respect and gratitude of the whole nation. Respect he earned as a soldier and as a civilian, as a legislator. Against all odds, he defended democracy and helped quash the 1987 and 1989 coup attempts against then Biazon. I was a member of the cabinet, and Pong was in the military service. And all of those coup d'etats were happening. So, Greg, you can imagine in the briefings of Pong how many times your name was mentioned. I will not repeat it here, but that was how Pong was. But he would often tell me a highlight of his military career was his being a superintendent of the Philippine Military Academy. Why? Because that institution molded the minds of the soldiers. And Pong was a model to these young cadets who wanted to join our armed services. Very critical was the role of Pong in molding the military establishment of our country. He was a model soldier worthy of emulation. It was a position of the superintendent of the Philippine Military Academy that was fitted for Pong because in his entire military career, he embodied patriotism, integrity, and professionalism. Pong chose to enter the Philippine Military Academy, even if he passed the West Point and U.S. Naval Academy examinations. Pong's phenomenal rise from PME superintendent to commandant of the Philippine Marines and later Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines was a testament to his strong sense of duty and unflinching commitment to democracy. One of the many highlights in Pong's career that I remember was in 1991 during the deliberation on who was going to be the next Chief of Staff. If I recall correctly, I was an executive secretary then. And let me share with you that the deliberation on who the next chief of staff would be was very short. There was no doubt that Pong alone deserved that position as commander of the armed forces. There was no doubt that General Rodolfo Biazon was the right man for the job. For no one can question his capability, his dedication to public service, his loyalty to our country. In the battlefields where he was posted as a young military officer, he was fearless and undaunted even in the face of death. His uncommon valor inspired countless young officers and soldiers to bravely defend democracy at all costs. He transitioned from being a high-ranking military officer to a civilian official with relative ease. And I remember very well the campaign of 1995, and when Pong and I ran together in the Senate state. Tito described how Pong, before this campaign speech, would go down, look for a young kid, and he would always brief the young kid. Tanungin kita, tanungin kita kung ano maging gusto mo. Pag nakita mo, ang sagot mo, pagiging sundalo, kagaya mo. So, but one time, the kid that he picked up to the stage did not follow his instruction. So, tinanong niyo po, ikaw, paglaki mo, anong karera gusto mo? Maging konduktor, sir. Sabi, gusto mo maging doktor? Hindi po, konduktor. Bakit konduktor? Ang tatay ko po, driver. So, and so Pong was caught by surprise, but continued to explain why he should be in the Senate. I remember, Pong was a kind of man, wala pong pinapatawad yan. Pag may nakikitang dapat pansinin, talagang pinapansin niya. I remember, and the records of the Senate will show, he stood up one time in order to complain why the Philippine mission in New York was so in a state of disrepair na may mga scaffolding sa sidewalk. You think we thought that it was not such a great importance, but to him, every little bit which could erode the dignity of his beloved Philippines was worth his time to be able to bring on the floor of the Senate. Up to his twilight years of his life, Pong only had our beloved nation's best interest at heart. Indeed, Pong's life and work are inspiring and worthy of emulation. He will always be remembered as someone who defied all odds and bravely faced all colossal challenges life has thrown him. His was a life well lived. Today, with a heavy heart, we all bid farewell to Rodolfo Pong Biazon, a Senate colleague, a decorated military officer, a patriot, and a good friend. To Monsi, Richie, Reno, and Rufy, Mila and I offer our sincerest and deepest condolences. You are in our thoughts and prayers in these most difficult and sad times of our life. Paalam po. They say that old soldiers never die. They just fade away. Pong, you may have physically left us, but your patriotism, your love for country, your dedication to public service will never fade away. It will be remembered and emulated by generations to come. Paalam Pong, we are forever grateful for contributions to our nation. Your legacy will continue to live in our hearts, not only of your loved ones and the people who have known you, but also in the hearts of freedom and democracy loving Filipinos. Rest well, Pong, in God's loving arms. My dear friends, till we meet again. Thank you.